and I wanted to react to this video, right? I wanted to react to it because it's a very, very reputable content creator from YouTube, Jimmy High Roller, and his videos are always top tier. And then he posted this video, and I made it to 1 minute in, and I realized that I needed to react to this live. I needed to react to this live on the spot, recorded, so me and you, we can get our own opinions and have a whole idea behind it. So he triggered the entire NBA with one sentence. Let's react to it.
I think there's a single topic where everyone is in agreement. In all my days, all the debates, takes, forums, media, I have never seen everyone come together and agree on anything. Until a few days ago, all thanks to this man. In a collective act unlike anything we've ever seen, NBA players have joined forces all to tell this guy he's wrong.
All right. This is the thing. When I saw all those NBA players reacting to this, saying like, oh, like, who does this guy think he is? Drake chiming in, like, oh, like, you got your 15 seconds of fame, blah, 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 blah. I find it so ridiculous, bro, because he wasn't wrong. Exactly, guys. He wasn't wrong. All he said is, you guys are not world champions. Just stop saying you're world champions. That was the whole thing. But no, he became an insult, just like, we're the best players in the world. This is the best league in the world. Blah, 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 blah. So it wasn't the point.
He might be right.
I have to watch the NBA finals, and they have
World champion on their head. World champion or what? The United States?
Really excited to announce the sponsor today.
No free ad space here.
They're my two favorite sports, and they virtually exist in two different planes of reality. But a few days ago, the two sports collided, all thanks to one little interview that got blown completely out of proportion. So what better opportunity for me?
World Cup. There are world champions.
Right here. This is Noah Lyles. He's the fastest man in the world. And this past week, he pulled off the coveted triple gold at the 2023 World Championships, winning the 100, the 200, and the 4x100 relay. A feat that hasn't been...
By the way, this is insane. This is insanity right here. Winning the 100, 200, and 400? And also world record in two of them? Insanity.
Off on the world stage since 2016 by an athlete y'all may or may not be familiar with, named Usain Bolt.
Bro, do you understand how crazy that is? How crazy that is that the last athlete to do what you just did is arguably the greatest of all time? What?
Yeah, Noah Lyles is really good. And after his historic week on the track, Lyles had some strong words about the idea of being a world champion and how some leagues use the title when they probably shouldn't.
That hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA finals, and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S.
The FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023, literally world champion. Literally. If you want to be the world champion and there's not a competition for it, then go compete for the United States national team and be a world champion. No. The rest of the world is going to be scared when we send Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Devin Booker, and everything. Well, they don't go. They get asked if they want to go, and they don't go. So it's not like you can make them. They don't go because they don't think it's worth it. And the fact that you think being a world champion is not worth it, it already says a lot.
At times. But that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
Now, this sentiment of a domestic league claiming a world championship despite never facing other countries to win the title has been echoed for years, and it makes sense. In order to be a world champion, you need to beat the rest of the world. In 2010, Greg Popovich, who has been the head coach of the U.S. men's national team since 2019, said it doesn't make sense for an NBA team to call themselves the world champions. I don't remember anybody playing anybody outside of our borders to get that tag. Popovich, along with countless others, agree with Lyles. there's not really much to debate here. Until NBA players saw the interview.
Really, there was nothing to debate. It's all these players that freaking made it personal for no reason. Bro, Kendrick Perkins has a freaking nerve. Put his brain in a bird and the bird will start flying backwards. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Are you freaking kidding me? PJ Tucker can't make this up. Make what up? He's talking facts. Look at all these, bro, all these players. Like, it really hurts me that these players go to college for at least a year. So where is this? Why are they making the freaking education system in the United States look worse than what it is?
In the most unanimous voice of opinion I've ever...
Bro, and look at Kevin Durant here. Easy money sniper. Somebody help this brother. You don't know anything, KD.
...seen in my 7 years covering the NBA. Players across the league chimed in on the discussion. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon. The whole damn NBA pulled up to drop off their 2 cents about Noah Lyles' comments. Have you ever seen anything like this? This man had the whole...
Me personally, he is right. I never seen so many players come together and being wrong together, bro. Like you being like this is a bunch of sheep, just like that got triggered by something that someone said, and instead of like actually wanting to be like they could have easily said just like, hey, we're the freaking best league in the world. So we're gonna call ourselves the world champion, even though we know it's incorrect. We still believe it. You could have said that, but no, they made it like as if he was wrong. He's not wrong. Didn't Stephen A. Smith admit he got it wrong when being corrected about the matter? Yes, he did. He made an apology. He did an apology.
On him over a few words. Every single one of them in universal agreement that the team that wins the NBA Finals are, in fact, the world champions. And you know what? They're right. The team that wins the NBA Finals in any given season are the world champions. And here's why. See, I love track and field. I ran it in college. It was my best sport. One of my closest friends, CJ Allen, represented the US and ran at the World Championship meet this past week. And so I feel I have a solid perspective on this debate. I understand where Noah is coming from. He didn't just earn the title of world champion by simply being the best in the world. He earned the title by beating the best in the world.
No. And you see, he's already changing the narrative. He's already changing the whole point. Listen to what he said.
Simply being the best in the world, he earned the title by beating the best in the world.
No. He doesn't get the world champion title because of him competing against the best players in the best track athletes in the world. Even though you have to be one of the best to qualify to this, he is a world champion because he's competing in a world championship. Simple as that. It's not about the best of all time.
The title of world champion doesn't inherently come from being the best in the world. It comes from winning a competition that includes the entire world.
There you go. Simple.
Does it?
No, or does it? Is yes, it does. Either you represent your league against other leagues, you represent your conference against other conferences around the world, you represent your talent that is either from one country or from one nation that represents against other nations, and that's how you represent the world championship. That's how you do it. It's not as easy. It's not that complicated. Drop the Nuggets in any other pro league in the world last year, they would sweep everyone. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all, Broccoli. That doesn't matter at all, because guess what? Just because you're the best of all the whole world doesn't mean you're competing for the world championship. Literally no point. That is the point. Then you cannot call yourself the world champion. All right, man. I'm just going in my bed. Good night. You have a good night, Q Billy. When are the next time you're streaming? Just keep an eye out on my post. I either stream every other day or whenever there's games or something. So just keep an eye out. Just make sure to follow and you'll get the notification.
See, in most other sports, like the vast majority of sports, in order to be crowned a world champion, you must win some form of competition or tournament on a world scale. Whether it's the World Championships, the Olympics, the FIFA World Cup, even the Little League World Series. A lot of sports fans believe the route to win a world title means beating the rest of the world, and rightfully so. But when it comes to basketball, specifically the NBA, I would disagree.
No,
The
you
NBA,
cannot
despite
disagree.
international, literally
Not despite. Not despite the world national. That means you cannot be the world champion. Simple as that.
being in the name, is a league comprised of the best basketball players in the world. It isn't some second-rate league. It isn't a sport that's only played here in the States. It is by far the best basketball league on the planet. In fact, out of 537 active NBA players, 128 of them are international players. That's 24% of the league. The OKC Thunder have 9 international players from 5 different countries on their roster alone. Unlike a sport like American football, which is almost exclusively played in the US, basketball is a worldwide sport with leagues around the globe. The best players from every country all ending up in the NBA. Now sure, the NBA Finals isn't technically the World Championship by definition, but an NBA championship team is naturally the World Champions since the league is home to the best talent in the world. Would it be anything more than a formality to send, let's say, the Denver Nuggets to Spain to play the Real Madrid basketball club, parade around the world to prove they are definitive?
My guy, you just proved the fact that, like, that's the whole point. If the NBA sends their club to compete against Real Madrid, and then Real Madrid beat every single club in Europe, and then the Nuggets beat Real Madrid, guess what? That is the whole point. You cannot say you're better than them until you play against them.
Definitively the world champs? No. And yet, that is exactly what some NBA teams do. Since 1984, and held nearly every year since, a handful of NBA teams play exhibition games against international teams. And since 1984, there have been 178 of these NBA team versus international team games. Of those 178 games, NBA teams have won 161 of them. Giving NBA
So there is a 2% chance that another team can beat them. That is literally the whole point. That is literally the whole point. NBA is an international league. Just because they play in America doesn't mean they're not international. You're very ignorant if you think that then the Premier League is international. Then the Premier League is international. Okay, have your rebuttal then.
teams a win percentage against international teams over the last 4 decades of 90%. In fact, the NBA's record against international teams over the last 42 games is 41-1. Look at this. The Blazers were one of the worst teams in the league last season, won only 33 games. I would know, unfortunately, they're my team. Last October, they faced this team, a team out of the Israeli National Basketball League with a name I won't even try to pronounce. And the Blazers blew them out by 53 points. Here's another game from last season, where a ragtag OKC Thunder lineup played a game against a team from the Australian National Basketball League and beat them by 33 points. Half of these Thunder players don't even see the court in the NBA, and they still blew this team out. In 2019, the Cavaliers, who were the worst team in the entire league, faced off against one of the better teams in South America and smoked them by 31. This Cavs team was the worst team in the entire NBA, and they still...
This guy's logic is like debating with an Arsenal fan. The whole point is that there's a chance of the best losing to the worst is the whole point. I don't understand what they don't understand. It really... Yeah, no, that it's legitimate, just a definition. Like, nobody, like, this is the thing, and I don't understand where this came from. At no point did anyone say, hey, the NBA players or the NBA is not the best league in the world. That's really, nobody said that. It's just, everyone just said, hey, you only compete against NBA teams. There's no right that gives you the to say that you're the world champions unless you compete against the other leagues. And guess what? He said it. Out of 100, no sé qué, out of 178 games, they only lost 17. So that means that per year there will be at least a chance that 17 times a European team or a team from another country could have been the world champions. That's legit the whole point.
still ran a premier international team out of the building. Just look at these results from past games. They're almost...
Just look at these results, bro. Lost by 8 points. Blowout. 13 points. 2 points. Overtime. And they won. What year is this? This is 2013. Blowout. Blowout. Overtime. Blowout. 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 A 1 point. Blowout. 6 points. Bro, these games are close.
NBA teams don't
6 points.
face
Blowout. Blowout.
international teams for
Blowout.
world basketball supremacy
7.
because
5. Is he really just scrolling down these teams and not realizing that the most of these games, or like a lot of these games, were like a difference of like less than 10 points?
don't need to. The best teams in the world, without exception, are all here
Real Madrid won this one right here, 2016.
in the NBA. If there was a world tournament for every pro basketball team to have a shot at winning a world championship, the last team standing would just be NBA.
Oh wait,
teams.
I wasn't even showing it. My bad. My bad. Look at this. Look at this.
Results from past games. They're almost all like this. NBA teams don't face international teams for world basketball.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't know you couldn't do it.
The best teams in the world, without exception, are all here in the NBA. If there
Yes, but nobody's saying that. Nobody's making the point about like what teams are the best. It's just you're not the world champions.
was a world tournament for every pro basketball team to have a shot at winning a world championship, the last team standing would just be NBA teams. And
You don't know that. That is the whole point. You cannot 100% say it because there is a record that you just saw that there's 178 games and 17 times a team from another league won. Isn't that 10%? That is 10%, ain't it? Bro, that is a 10% chance.
and then we just added a whole bunch of steps to what we already know as the NBA playoffs.
No, because he should be the winner of this versus the winners of the other things.
But you don't even have to look into international competition to see how
Bro, you're telling me former MVP, current MVP, former MVP, future probably one of the best players of all time, and a guy that just came back and won a ring with a busted leg from an injury. No MVP, yes MVP, probably the best point guard of all time and the best player of all time.
the NBA is a worldwide league. Last season, 6 of the top 8 NBA MVP candidates were international players.
It's irrelevant to the point.
The player who won the award, an international player, as was the MVP in 2022 and 2021 and 2020 and 2019. And in
That doesn't matter.
terms of odds, the player who is favored to win the MVP this upcoming season is an international
That doesn't matter.
player. So is the player in second and third and fourth. The first overall pick in this year's NBA draft is from France. And this is really nothing new. 10 years ago, the San Antonio Spurs roster consisted of 10 international players, which was more than the number of US-born players on their roster. Now, we do not have a world championship tournament or competition for individual teams, and I don't think we will anytime soon. But
Then you will never get the opportunity to call yourself a world champ. It's as simple as that. If you don't make a competition, you're only the best in the world, and everyone gives you that title. But you do not get the title of the world championship if you don't compete in a championship that is everyone competing in the same thing. It is really a definition thing. I don't understand the whole problem.
we do have the next best thing, the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
That is literally the Redeem Team from 2008. They had to create this team because the between the Dream Team and the Redeem Team, they lost. They had to send their best players because they lost.
And you don't need to be a fan of basketball to know how these games play out. In 1992, the USA men's national team began filling their roster with professional players from the NBA as opposed to amateur players like they did.
Yes, and that's the Dream Team. What happened? I bet he better mention what happens after the Dream Team, because what happens after the Dream Team Freaking, they lost against Spain or I forget who.
In past years, this is what led to the inception of the Dream Team. And since 1992, the U.S. men's basketball team has played in 15 World Basketball Tournaments. That's both the Olympics and the FIBA Basketball World Cup. Out of those 15 World Tournaments, the U.S. won 10 of them and medaled.
Okay, this alone proves that they're not the best in the world at all times. Because if they were 7th, bronze, 6, bronze, that means that at one point or the other, they could struggle.
In 13, their total win-loss.
If it was outright they're the best at all times and there's not an argument, this whole thing should be gold. But the fact that there's an argument, the fact that they can lose.
Record throughout that 32-year span, 111 and 12. 12 losses in 32 years.
12 losses, therefore they can lose.
The average margin of victory for the U.S. men's basketball team in international competition, plus 26 points per game. For perspective, the largest margin of victory throughout the 2023 NBA season was plus 6.5 by the Boston Celtics. The worst team in the NBA last season had a margin of victory of -10. When the U.S. sends out a basketball team for international competition, the gap between them and the rest of the world is larger than the gap between the best NBA team and the worst NBA team. So does
still doesn't make you a world champion. Still doesn't make a world champion.
Winning the NBA Finals truly make a team the world champions?
No.
Well, technically, no. They don't face any international teams, they don't win a world competition, so by definition, they are not world champions. But I mean, come on. This argument is sheer technicalities and semantics. You point me to the team outside of the US that can beat the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, or the LA Lakers, and I'll point you to a world champion. Being the best in the world doesn't simply make you the world champion, and beating the best in the world surely does. But what if the best in the world are all playing in the same league? And
that doesn't matter. That's exactly what I said. I was right, you was wrong. If he literally just said, pay attention.
The Miami Heat, but I mean, come on.
But I mean, come on. He's just playing technicality. He's just saying like, well, we're the best in the world, so technically we're the world champion. No, that's not how it works. Either you compete in a world championship or you don't.
Argument is sheer technicalities and semantics. You point me to the...
It is a semantic thing because it's a definition. There's other sports. Your sport doesn't get the pass just because.
Team outside of the U.S. that can beat the Denver Nuggets or the Miami...
Just because there's no team that could beat you doesn't mean that you can outright say that you're the world champion. That's the whole point.
Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, or the LA Lakers. And I'll point you to a world champion.
So Big Barca and Real Madrid were world champions regardless because they had the best players. Literally. Oh, since nobody else could beat Real Madrid and Barcelona, they were the world champions, bro.
Being the best in the world doesn't simply make you the world champion. And beating the best in the world surely does.
Yes, he does. What would be the point of participating if you know you're going to win? Because it's not guaranteed. Do I need to go back to this part? Where is it? Is not guaranteed. If it's bronze 6, bronze, and 7th, that means there's a chance. That means a club could beat you on their day. Look at how our worst team destroyed their best. Oh my god, no, bro. Broccoli, you're a kid, bro. You're a kid.
They are not world champions. But I mean, come on. This argument is sheer technicalities and semantics. You point me to the team outside of the US that can beat the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, or the LA Lakers, and I'll point you to a world champion. Being the best in the world doesn't simply make you the world champion, and beating the best in the world surely does. But what if the best in the world are all...
So what about the Club World Cup? Yeah, that's the whole point. Arian, the whole point. If you send the best team from Europe, from the UEFA, from the Champions League against the teams from South America versus Asia and everything, that's when they can claim the world championship title, the world champion title. no team from Europe, no team from the Champions League says, "Oh, we're the world champions because they won the Champions League." They still need to be the other teams to prove it, or the best of the other teams.
Playing in the same league, and you and your team are the winners of that league. Well, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, that makes you the world champions.
No, then your opinion is wrong. Is this video arguing against being called world champions or against? It's for. It's for. But hey, Jimmy High Roller, one of the best creators on the whole YouTube. Go follow him. I just completely disagree with his take on in this particular scenario. But yeah, no, there's no. If you don't compete in a world championship, if you don't compete in a tournament that is designed to prove who's the best around the world, you cannot just claim you're the best just because you have the most talent. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. But if you like this video, subscribe, like, follow the TikTok, follow the Kick to be represented in the videos if you want to see your comments live on video and everything. Besides that, bro, have an amazing day. Love you.